said anywhere.
Hello guys, welcome to Pillow Talks, and if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe and press the notification button. So today we have the lovely Mike, the prophet, tall,
everyone.
dark and handsome stranger to the Pillow Talk sofa.
Indeed. I'll take that.
And we have the lovely Gems. How you doing, Gems? Think you're looking good?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole meal, not a snack. Just remember that, guys. The whole
Jeez.
meal. So, guys, how are we all feeling today?
Good.
I'm in a deep mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very blessed to have you here. So,
Thank
very
you.
grateful. So, thank you for coming. So, today's topic, we're going to be talking about domestic violence with males. So, domestic violence against males, because it's a topic that isn't really spoken about, and I think it should be spoken about because we do tend to just focus on domestic violence within the female spectrum. So, Mike, let's head over to you. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been abused by your partner?
Yeah.
Or-
I've been hit by a woman, yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's just the reaction of it. And I think for men, they don't really speak on it because it's a masculine thing. So you won't necessarily want to tell people that you're being abused by a woman and that sort of thing. Me personally, it is something that needs to get more exposure, has to 100%, because it does go both ways.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of the damage that it does, again, it could be seen in different sort of spectrums for a man versus a woman. Do you know what I mean? No matter what, a man's going to be a man, a woman's going to be a woman. So it has different effects. So for me personally, I've managed to get over it and move on.
Yeah.
But maybe for a woman, obviously, you can speak on that probably a little bit better than I can. It's a totally different scenario.
What was your actual experience like? Give us a bit more insight into how it transpired, and because I know obviously with women in domestic violence, there are kind of steps to how it gets there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily start straight away. You know, the partner is usually very kind and very, loving, and can come across as, I don't know, kind of protective.
Yeah.
And then there's signs that there's little steps towards it, and then bam, that violence usually kicks in. So what was your experience, if you don't mind telling us?
No, that's fine. I think it's more so to do with the person's character, their own character. So if the person maybe got insecurities, that sort of stuff, I think it normally stems from that. But then it can be a scenario. I think personally with women, it's more of a 0 to 100 type of scenario in terms of what I've been in. Again, I can only speak for myself. So it's like a woman feeling a certain type of way about my actions, whether rightly or wrongly, and then it leading to an argument, and then to stuff like you trying to physically fight me. Now that's a fight you're never gonna win. Do you get what I mean? But with that in mind, as a man, you still have to show restraint. So like I said, I've been hit by a woman before, I've had objects thrown at me, stuff like that. And then you have to be the person to kind of hold back, even though you're the one that's actually being abused. Now, again, if police are called, and goes down to who calls the police first, they can come there and actually be like, okay, so the lady called first, so now you're no longer the victim, you're the person that gets in trouble.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So from a man's perspective, I could say to a man, look, call the police first, but then it's going to be an ego thing. You're not going to want to call the police on his man, on his gal. It's not going to happen. So with that being the case, what does a man do? He sucks it up and moves on. So I think it just needs to be, the social stigma of it needs to be taken away. So men feel that they can actually talk about it more. And actually come out and just be more honest with the fact that, my woman's a bit doolally, for want of a better word. And should make life a little bit easier for everybody, to be fair.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a woman, but even in those situations, women do get away with it a lot of the time.
100%.
And, we hold our men accountable, if the shoe is on the other foot. And obviously, as a parent, I always tell my son, don't hit a woman. But then at the same time, when do you cross that line? Because if you're being hit and mashed up, then
You've got to stop it.
we also teach them to defend themselves. If somebody hits you, you hit them back. So it's kind of really sort of double standards and mixed messages at the same time.
To a degree,
and as a woman, I'm kind of like, I personally think that you just don't hit each other. And I think for me, if it gets to the point where you have to communicate with your hands, it's time to go.
Walk out the door.
Like there's, I mean, unless you've, I mean, in some cases, you know, with like mental health, and I know brain injuries can
cause,
help you to sort of lead you to be more aggressive and where you can't control yourself. And I think 100%. In things like that, you can maybe make some allowances. But me personally, I don't agree with women hitting men. And they seem to get away with it. And that's the thing. Even the stuff that's happened with, is it Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? That was just
crazy.
Like, I was like, because I was just thinking, if he hadn't had all those recordings, he would have been fucked.
And his staff members as well that saw how she acted.
But in a lot of cases, like men they're not savvy enough in it to do all that. So that, you know, you wouldn't even think of doing that as a man. So it's a very sort of dangerous game, Nick, when it comes to men and DV. Jan, what's your 100%. Opinion on it?
Well, I've been in a few situations where I've seen it firsthand. Like my friend had like attachment issues, and every partner she would get with, she'd do the same mental cycle of being like emotionally abusive, and then it would lead to them
to her partner.
Because she didn't want them to ever leave her side. But they got to go out and work. They can't stay in the house with you 24/7. And she'd just be in the bed like making demands and tidy my house, go and cook my food.
Wow.
And then once they would like reach the pinnacle of their breaking point, they would then put their hands on her, and then she'll play the victim. But you're egging them on, and she'll egg them on as well, and then she'll fight back. And all her kids are there as well. So it's like, this is too much for me, and this is too much for your whole household.
100%.
But she went through like about 3 relationships until she
doing the same thing.
Until she found the right one. Until she like proper sorted out herself and was by herself for a long time.
But just to add to that, I think it's probably a little bit of people dealing with their own issues, because a lot of like abuse, whether it be man or woman, it's actually a reflection of your own self. In most cases.
Absolutely.
So you got to deal with your own personal issues before you can actually then deal with somebody else. So for me, I think a lot of people go into relationships not with a lot of issues that they've not resolved. And then that's just going to play out in the relationship, making it a hostile environment for both the man and the woman. So
I've got a friend who stabbed her man.
Wow.
Is she in prison?
No.
You see it there?
He got her to that point where she was stabbing him, rocking him. It was like, what is this about?
That is not life, man.
Can't be doing this.
That is not life at all.
They've sought out therapy, and they're now better with managing their temperaments and processing and learning how to communicate, because that's the first thing. Because your partner can communicate a totally different way to how you do, and then the way you perceive it is also another thing. Like when someone's talking to you, you got to learn how to respond and not react.
You got to learn how to listen as well. Because
listening is a very big thing.
because a lot of it is to do with listening, and a lot of the time we listen to respond instead of just actually taking in what the person is saying.
Listen.
I mean, I do it myself. I'm like on the edge of my seat, and I'm just waiting to say something, and then I have to revisit myself and think, no, you're not listening. This isn't effective listening. Go back inside and actually listen and hear and feel what the person is saying.
And appreciate it. Put yourself in their shoes if you can.
Yeah, but that's sometimes in this day and age, it's very hard to do. There's so much noise.
There is.
There's so much noise.
So much hustle and bustle.
No, definitely. And we just want things to happen quickly. And listening is not a quick thing. Well,
it's a generation of instant gratification, so putting that into context, you kind of say to yourself, well, if you want things now, if you think about, take it to maybe your parents and stuff like that, why do their relationships last much longer than it does in this day and age? There's a reason for that.
Why is that reason?
Well,
give
for
us some
me,
gems.
and this again, just speaking like from what I've seen, I think for a lot of the older generation, they looked at things from a different perspective. So women, not to say that they were different then, but they have a certain role to play.
Yeah.
And they were more accepting of that role then. Now we've come into a new age where the role reversal, the role reversal has changed now. Yeah. So if you're not having to play that role as, let's say, Susie Homemaker, quote unquote, which not all women obviously are, but if you're not having to play that role, then you're going to think, okay, cool, now I'm going to now play the man's role. That's not going to work out well in any type of home environment. Do you get what I mean?
But I feel like you can only play the man's role if the man's not playing his role.
There you go. No, but there's a lot of men that don't. So the woman has to step up.
In some way, shape or form. Do you get it? I wanted to ask you, Mike, when you was in your relationship and you went through your abuse, did you stay in that relationship?
I did. Yeah.
Why? That's interesting.
Because it's like you kind of always want to try and work it out. You always think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So you kind of think, okay, cool, do you know what? Let me just stick it out. It will get better, innit? Yeah. And you always kind of taught, well, I was taught growing up that nothing that's worthwhile having comes overnight. It's going to be easy. So you've got to work for it, do you get what I mean? So that being the case, you kind of think to yourself, all right, do you know what? This has happened today, but do you know what? Just move on. Yeah.
Did you brush it under the rug, or did you sit down and have a conversation?
Because women do the same thing. That's why I wanted to ask you, because obviously, you know, data says that women that they do exactly the same thing. They think, oh, it's an isolated incident, or things will get better, or I have to stick at it, and you know, even sort of in different cultures, you're supposed to just not leave the marriage. You know, you have 100%. To just make it work regardless of. You know what's going to happen. So that's why I wanted to ask you that. No,
definitely. I think I come from a Nigerian background, so it's like once you're married, you feel me? I know that's what we do. Just to say, it's like once you get married in the Nigerian culture, divorce is not an option.
Really?
It's genuinely not an option. Wow. And if you do, it's almost like a shame on you and your family.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You had to go down the route of divorce. Yeah. But I think in this day and age, it's not as bad now. But I think for a lot of the people that tend to get married, they do try to work it out. They try to stick it out because nobody wants to fail. Yeah. Like that's not the sort of the end goal, for want of a better word. So you try to say to yourself, okay, cool, do you know what, let's try to work it out. And I think to kind of pick up on what you said earlier on about the therapy, I think that's what, especially with black people as well, we think that going to therapy is a bad thing. Yeah. It's almost looked down upon because it's like, you're weak or whatever. Yeah. Therapy is a good thing. Like I used to think that way, to be totally honest with you. So I used to think, going therapy, no way, I'm not going to see nobody. No, I don't need to do that.
What changed your mind?
I got into a dark place in my life where to say that I hit rock bottom would be, it was crazy. So
one thing, when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up.
And that's exactly what it was. So for me, I got to a place in my life where I was just thinking, no, this is crazy. I was doing crazy things. I was starting to move mad. I was smoking like bare weed and just doing crazy things and just acting out. So you kind of get to yourself, you have to kind of check yourself, and like you said, you check yourself and you say to yourself, well, is this the life you want to live? Yeah. Or do you want to actively now make a change? Yeah. Me, I decided personally for myself, I wanted to make a change. So I actually sought help. I didn't want to go, transparently, I didn't want to go to a white therapist.
You went and sought out help yourself?
I sought the help myself.
Wow.
And I found a black therapist that I could speak to because I thought it was more relatable. And it's funny because the white lady that I did speak to, she was like, with the greatest of respects, from a white woman's perspective, I probably can't relate as much. Yeah. So she was like, you probably are better off
speaking to a
black person that might be able to relate better.
100%.
I did that, and it's definitely leveled me out. Yeah. So I started to look at things from a different perspective. I started to open up my mind to different things, and I felt that was where my life started to get a little bit better. Wow. And I don't react to things anymore because I used to be a crazy hothead.
What? Nothing? You don't react to anything, or just bad stuff?
There's certain things I don't.
Are you a robot?
Well, the mad thing is that if you let somebody get you mad, then they've got control.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So I now kind of look at it from the perspective of I'm not going to let anybody get me out of my skin. That's crazy. How can you let somebody else control your emotional reaction to a situation? Yeah. That shouldn't ever be the case. So
weak.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. So for me, if somebody's trying to get me out my skin, I'm not going to react. I'll let you do you.
I find that makes it worse.
On the other person's
Yeah,
behalf, because they know they can't control your emotions.
There you go, and that winds them up.
But that, I don't know. I've been in that situation, and because I'm the sort of person like I'm not a reactor either. I'm kind of just like, okay.
Yeah.
And I've got myself into some really crazy arguments.
Yeah.
Because I'm not reacting to the person, and I'm just like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, what the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like, what do you want? This crazy like wild girl who just wants to like, I don't get it. Like, you can't win, but yeah, I'm gonna stay silent. Bitch.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. But then it goes back to you dealing with your own issues.
Yeah.
Once you can deal with that, then you become a more rounded person. And in them type of scenarios, you can probably check yourself before you get to that tipping point.
100%. 100%.
Even in like the relationships that I'm with now, I set the boundaries. I always tell people, it's 3 strikes. Don't let me get to the 3rd time and I'm telling you, you're getting on my nerves. Otherwise I'm peacing out. I can't do it. 100%. I've been someone who has put my hands on someone because I've got to that point. But it takes me a very long time to get there. Yeah. Because I'm across the board, I'm quite zen. I'm quite happy. You see me all the time. I'm happy go lucky, innit? Yeah. But if you get me to that point, and when I was younger, I used to be on fighting. I'd be headbutting people and all sorts.
I cannot envision you doing that,
headbutting this one. Bloody hell.
Fucking hell.
I was a little firecracker.
A little?
Now I'm delicate.
You're a big firework, bonfire.
I used to crush like just to intimidate people. I used to get cans and just crush it with one hand.
Wow.
Excuse me,
just
Jemma.
don't cross me.
Mean Girls. Whoa.
Yeah, from the top to the bottom with my little hand.
You've done a lot of healing then, clearly.
I have. I've learnt a lot. I did go to therapy.
That's the way, isn't it?
Yeah. I was made to feel like I was crazy.
Yeah.
So then I had to seek help. And when I did, the therapist was like, I don't understand why you're here, because you're already solving the issues just by speaking to me, and you already know the steps to take. Yeah. And then later on again, I went and sought help for like past traumas and stuff like that. Because I realised I had a problem. Just because off the back of I had social anxiety. Yeah. So the person that you see here today is not the same person. I used to be quiet. I used to be like very in my own zone. Yeah. If he crossed me, I'd be like, baby.
You can't imagine it, can you?
A little bit, but no, not to the extent that you're saying. I'm like, okay, Jekyll and Hyde, yeah. Sure, you're not a Gemini.
No, I'm a Libra.
You're finely balanced, yeah.
Finally. Like even my friends, they would say, oh, do you not remember punching me in the face? I was like, no, I don't remember this. I've never put my hands on you. But it's like, yes, you have.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, God, yeah. Lock that monster away, don't let it come out, please.
Yeah.
No, I've healed.
That's good.
No, that is very good.
No,
it
is. I do think that therapy is the way forward, though. I'm a massive advocate of therapy, and I've had therapy since the age of, I think, 16, 17.
Serious?
Yeah, and that was my first therapy session was at college. Okay. So I went to see the therapist at college because I just knew that I needed to talk to someone, and I didn't feel like there was anyone else that I could talk to, and I didn't want to be judged by anybody, and I didn't want to put any pressure on anyone else.
Yeah, of course.
So that was the first time that I started therapy, and anytime I'm feeling a little bit, lost or stuck in a box, I will definitely go and seek out therapy because it's really good. And the thing is, it's like you said, whenever I go to see a therapist, they already tell me what I already know. Yeah. It's like a reminder, and it's almost like a green light to say, you can look after yourself. Yeah, you don't have to put everybody else first. Do you know what I mean? So that's my little reason. Yeah, no,
definitely.
I'm going to train to be a therapist. So watch this space.
You should do still. Well, you got the therapy chair.
Yeah. Watch this space. So that's that's the main reason why I study psychology. So I'm very massive big advocate for therapy. So guys, I want to just wrap it up and thank you both for coming. We've had a really interesting, can't even get my words out now, interesting conversation, and it's definitely something that we should touch on again, maybe on a deeper level with a therapist. I think that'd be a good one.
That'd be a good one.
That one.
Yeah. So guys, thank you, and hope to see you all soon. Guys, any questions, please comment below, and we will see you soon. Bye.